guys. Welcome back to Talking Blue. I'm here with Matthew. I'm Luke, and we're back with another pregame episode. The Giants get back home to face the Carolina Panthers. Obviously they played them last year in the regular season, and today they meet again tomorrow night. So we're very excited. Matthew will be in attendance filming. And there's a lot to talk about. I'll jump right in. For one, Wink Martindale's interview, very interesting. Talked about a lot of players, but the biggest questions and the biggest position that they were talking about was obviously middle linebacker. That's been the biggest concern all year. And we've talked about Beavers, we talked about McFadden, and it really came down to who's going to get that spot. And I was really curious, like looking at this, who was, and then watching Wink Martindale's interview, that actually Mika McFadden has won the linebacker 2 position, and they brought in Anthony Barr this week to visit, talk to Anthony Barr a little bit about maybe joining this team for depth, because besides Beavers, that there's no one else behind him. We just have special teams players. So Matthew, how do you feel about McFadden now starting over Beavers and is miles ahead of Beavers according to Wink Martindale?
Honestly, it's fine. I'm fine with it. I don't have too strong of an opinion on it. I would have thought. I mean, to be fair, Beavers got injured and missed all of last season, and McFadden played a lot last year, so McFadden's more used to the NFL. Beavers just need some
and
experience.
Wink Martindale said that. He said Beavers is still technically a rookie, never stepped on the NFL field, during the season yet. So he's still a rookie. So he still needs to be developed properly. The biggest concern for me, and I watched this and I saw a few plays McFadden messed up on. He's not good coverage against a pass. He's not a very good man. He's not great in coverage. He's a great run stuffer, has a good blitz, and I haven't been too impressed with his coverage, and I didn't think it got better from what I've seen so far. So, the way Link's saying it, you hope he steps up, because we're gonna need a guy in the middle to cover some guys. We can't just let teams just throw quick passes on us all day over the middle. It just can't happen. So next, I want to talk about Kayvon Thibodeau. Matthew is one of your favorites. Wink Martindale, he was pretty black and white in his interview. He wants Kayvon Thibodeau to step up. He addressed him in front of the team. It's Kayvon Thibodeau's time to step up and be the man, be the superstar X factor for the New York Football Giants.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is his biggest season. This is gonna be a big season in his career. Obviously, knowing he got injured last year in the preseason versus the Bengals, I was at that game, but he missed the first 2 games of the season, and it took a little while for him to really come out of his shell and develop into a really good defensive player. You saw week 15 versus Washington, he was outstanding. He had 12 tackles, a couple assists. I forget the exact stats. He scored a defensive touchdown, and that was his sack. It was a phenomenal game by him.
Tackles for loss all over him. That was really a great game for him. And I thought you're right. He really did turn it on growing, at the end of the season. I think he really did struggle. And, Wink Martindale is pretty cut and dry. You watch his interview, a lot of coaches don't say it. He says, I tell my players every day before practice, where you are at and where you should be at. And he told Kayvon Thibodeau, you should be the best player on this field, and you know that. And Kayvon Thibodeau has to be the best player. We need to have a great edge rusher. Lawrence Taylor. Think about what we were then with Lawrence Taylor. We need that nail from Kayvon Thibodeau, and that's a must. Another guy we love to talk about here, Adoree Jackson moves to the slot, picks up a leadership role. Matthew, how do you think that's going to affect his game?
It depends. Honestly, he was a dominant corner last year for the Giants until he got injured in Week 11 versus the Detroit Lions with a very bad, which was the only decision that Brian Daboll made that's really annoyed me, which was
the punt return.
The punt return, and it was a really stupid call. It came back to bite them, and it was bad because other than him, the corner room really wasn't that good last year.
Yeah, it really struggled. Darnay Holmes, for one, who has actually lost his spot. Hawkins and Banks have slid right in there, and Adoree's going to be a third guy. It's crazy that 2 young rookies, the 6th-round pick, is now our second corner. But I love to see it, and Wink says it great. The best players, Brian Daboll says, the best 11 is going to be the guys you see on the field. It doesn't matter who you are, the background, and that's how it has to be. You can't have a guy like Darnay Holmes out there just because he's been on the team for a few years. You can't just put a Dory out as your starting corner because he's most experienced. You got to go with the right players for the right situations and the right game plan. So I'm really excited to see that. Let's flip back to really the preseason game and really the matchup this sets. Obviously I'm really excited to see Tommy DeVito back in action, but a guy that really struggled last week, Bryce Ford Wheat, an absolutely horrendous game. Matthew, break us down through him.
Yeah, this is a make or break game for Bryce Ford Wheaton. Obviously, seeing how he performed the last game versus Detroit, he was awful. And this is this game probably determines if he makes the roster or not. Like he's got to step
Definitely.
up.
Yeah, you can't. He's an undrafted free agent. He's a nobody. So Giants picked him up. He looked really good, and he's always had drop issues. I think that was something we saw last week. He's just an athletic freak, and he's always been a little bit shy of his full potential, and I just didn't see him going out there and producing the way he should have. But then we look on the flip side, we see a guy like Tommy DeVito. Not a lot of people have heard of him, and he had a great game, a really good game last week, and I think that solidified him to make the roster. I think he can make the roster, maybe even move to second string. I was really impressed with Tommy DeVito's play last week.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought he had a very good game. Obviously, Tyler Taylor doesn't look too well, but he's probably still going to be the second string regardless. But we'll see what happens. I think Tommy DeVito could definitely overtake him. So yeah, we'll
I
see.
think I think DeVito will make the team regardless, just because we'll
Yeah.
need to carry a third string quarterback. Obviously, Davis Webb, obviously the new quarterback coach for the Denver Broncos, and retired last season. But yeah,
Right.
another guy we want to talk about, Jalen Hyatt. I didn't feel like we got enough of him. I was really excited. He's still lining up in practice, Matthew. What would we like to see from him this tomorrow?
I think he's got to get more receptions. He only got one reception the last game, which was a loss of
Negative.
4 yards, and it was a screenplay. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know how you feel about these, Luke, but I honestly hate screenplays. I think they're really stupid and risky
Me too.
because, you know, if you
Always in the backfield.
yeah, because like when you're standing one place, it could turn out to be phenomenal. For an example, a phenomenal screenplay was Saquon Barkley, Week 6 in 2018 versus the Philadelphia Eagles. He turned a
Yeah.
screen, gained like a ridiculous amount of yards, and he made that look easy. And I remember watching that. I was just like, oh my god, how did he do that? But like, that's unreal though.
And
And
he's also a running back. A
yeah,
lot different when you have
right.
7 guys in front of you instead of at a receiver screen. You have 2 guys, and you never want to see guys get clocked or anything. Cole Beasley got clocked on one of them. And another big thing I've been reading, Gary Brightwell's injury. Eric Wright. It seems like he won't be a big running back this year, but he will be a special teamer, and he will be our returner most likely with Gary Brightwell's injury. So I am pretty excited to see what he could do at returner. I thought he had a really nice return to open up the game last week, 40 yards. And we need a good returner. You always look for a solid returner who could really start off your game well, and you never want to see anyone muff anything. So, how do you feel about that, Matthew?
He'd be good. I think he should get some time on special teams. I kind of wanted him to play as like in the run game for most of the
Yeah,
season. I want Jamison Crowder to be the main return man. I don't know how you feel about that, but I've been saying that a lot on the podcast since the Giants signed him. What do you think?
yeah. I think Crowder's another great special teams guy. But speaking of Crowder, and I brought up Beasley earlier, I think both those guys have great potential to really be receivers this year. I thought I was really impressed with both of them in the slot when they played. Obviously, we have Shepard, we have Wandell. Soon will be back, and now all those guys. But Beasley and Crowder are two vets, and they still got it. Watching them out there, they made it look easy, and some of those plays were not easy. They made, Beasley got clocked, he gets right back up. That's what you need. You need a good veteran like him, especially for a younger quarterback like Daniel Jones, a guy like Beasley who's done it, and a guy like Crowder who's done it with so many different guys. So I think that'd be great to have them there. And then also the special teams aspect. Special teams is a very important part of football. It makes most games are decided by field goals and special teams. So you always want the right guys out there for special teams. And another guy I want to talk about, looking at this secondary, look at what Jason Pinnock did last week, and he had a tremendous game. What are we looking for game 2 from him?
Just to like, obviously not a whole lot different, just really to cover up, do exactly like similar to like what he did the last game. I don't think he's gonna do as good as he did. They'll perform as well, but like as the last game. But well, you never know. We'll see what happens. He made that interception versus like the first play of the game. I remember for the Lions, and it was thrown. It was a great play. Darnay
Yeah.
Holmes, I think, was that Holmes or Banks who had
No,
that?
that was Trey Hawkins with the great
Oh,
coverage
that
on
was
that play.
Hawkins. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I forgot. Trey Hawkins made great coverage on I think Jamison Williams, and then Jason Pinnock just jumped up there and grabbed that ball for an interception. It was a great play. Hopefully, he does that this season, and he filled in very well for when Xavier McKinney got injured.
Yeah, and then I was watching Wink's interview again, and he was saying a lot. Jason Pinnock and Dane Belton, the guy had interception. He said, those guys are going to be in roles this year. Starting roles, who knows? But if they're the right guys, they're going to put them on the field, and that was Wink's message. Those guys may not be the starters out there because you have a vet like Bobby McCain out there who's a great safety too, and he also had a great game. You look for a collection of defensive backs. You never can have enough defensive backs. They go down really easily. It's always good to have a lot of them. And I think that's a big improvement for the Giants, having depth at that position. The next thing I want to talk about, Evan Neal gets activated off the concussion list, which off the injury list, which is huge because that concussion, it's never good to see a guy get hurt early on in the season. And Matthew, that offense line was atrocious yesterday. Matthew Pert has been atrocious. We need to get Evan Neal back in there and piece together this line.
Yeah, I agree with you. The offensive line, the second and third teams were awful. Hopefully, Evan Neal plays. I think he should play a little bit. I don't want him to play too much and get injured. So I think you should get some time in there, and I think he'll be helpful for Tommy DeVito, whoever's starting tomorrow. I don't know who it's going
Yeah.
to be. Do you think Daniel Jones could start tomorrow?
I was reading. I'm not sure if they'll give it to. Maybe they'll give him some time. Maybe give Saquon a few snaps. You never know. It's a lot of time game time decisions. Obviously, we'll probably see a bulk of DeVito out there playing for a spot on this roster. And I'm excited though for tomorrow. Another big game, and another chance for a lot of these rookies to show up and play some football. So Matthew, I want you to tell me a little about what you'll be doing tomorrow at the game.
So yeah, guys, I know we mentioned this earlier and in the last episode, but I will be attending tomorrow's game versus the Panthers. I will also be at the preseason game versus the Jets. So there will be a vlog coming out on tomorrow night at when I get home from the game. So I'll be getting content there. Hopefully get to see some of you guys. I'll be sitting in section 137, row 17. So if you guys see me, come say hi. And yeah, I'm excited for tomorrow's game. It's going to be fun. I think for the Panthers, Bryce Young's going to start, and I really hope I get to see the number one overall pick in the draft. I think that would be cool. What do you think about that?
Yep. Yeah, I'm a big Alabama fan. Love Bryce Young with the Alabama, and now we get to see him against Big Blue.
Yeah, it's going to be cool to watch. I mean, obviously, I'm not a Panthers fan, but I'm excited to see him play. I hope he plays, though.
Yeah. I think you will. So, that's really going to be it for me and Matthew. We'll be coming out with a post game and the night after Carolina game, and we'll be posting content all throughout the game. That's it from me, Matthew. Any closing statements?
That's really it. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. Share this video with a few friends. And yeah, the next video will be coming out Saturday night. So, yeah, we'll see you guys later. Let's go, Giants.